Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
What's good, everybody? What is good? How's everybody doing today? Welcome to another edition of Keep It in the Ring with Rich Mancuso, except that I am not Rich Mancuso. I am Tommy D, a.k.a. Thomas from the Bronx, and a.k.a. TD Sports Talk. And, Rich is, coming probably on his way back home from the Yankees game. And so he asked me to fill in for him and, do his show for tonight. I said, no problem. So, I said, you know what? I got a guy that's been doing this for a long time, and I figured we have some fun with it and bring a friend of mine who's very knowledgeable of the sport of boxing. Been covering boxing for quite some time now. So I'm going to bring him up to the stage. My man Jose Fire Aguirre from Tell Us About That Boxing. And without further ado, there he is. What's going on?
What's going on, T?
What's going
TD
on,
Sport.
bro?
All right. How you doing, man?
I'm hanging in there. I'm doing this for my man Rich. Rich has a lot of faith in me, and I can't let him down. And I figure I got a guy who's very experienced, who knows about the sport, who's covering the sport almost every week. You are literally covering the sport, every week, especially in the tri-state area. So I figured I bring you on. You can introduce us, we'll introduce you, which we already did, and you tell us a little about yourself, your background, and then we'll get to it.
I appreciate that. While Rich Mancuso is at the Yankee game or on his way home from the Yankee game, I think he left the show in good hands. You are knowledgeable. You have good character. You have good color, and you bring a difference to the show. So do your thing, man. I'm here to support you 100%.
I really appreciate that. And there it is. Tell us about that. That is your channel. That is pretty much what you do when you do your interviews. You've been doing interviews for a long time. I know you through a good friend of ours, Socrates Palmer, who also is a good friend of Rich Mancuso as well. And he's the one that introduced us. And I believe, from what I know, you started working out, I think, with Boxing Talk.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Boxing Talk is where I met guys like Socrates Palmer, Greg Leone, guy from Fight Hype, Ben Thompson, and Ray Campbell. And each of these guys have gone on to do, other things in boxing, whether it be training or promoting or writing. These guys have and are still involved in some capacity within the sport. So, it's a good thing. And so, yeah, that was a start. And it was a great start. At the time, the website Boxing Talk was out. It was one of the premier websites. There were others like House of Boxing and Max Boxing. But this website was very in tune and had the pull with the fighters. So I was able to get my foot in the door, and things got started in that way from that website.
Okay. And you also forgot matchmaker. Ray Campbell's now a matchmaker. Like he's involved in the sport as well. So
Right.
That's what's up. And I remember Boxing Talk because Socrates, was writing articles of Boxing Talk. I think he started out working more with like the Latino fighters, getting the interviews with Latino fighters. I think Joan Guzman was one of the first guys I think he had. I could be wrong. I got to do one with actually Sock. Sock is my co-host on my show, but I should actually interview him and get his background because he's done a lot.
You're probably right. Around that time, Joan Guzman was the WBO champion, and we were around him a lot because he was based in New York City. Mm-hmm. And he had a manager named Jose who was real cool, a street guy who knew his game. So, we were able to get the ends with Joan Guzman, who ironically I ran into on Sunday at an event that I attended for the Hall of Fame.
And we were going to get to that, so we got to that a little bit earlier. Before we get to that, because we want to talk about that, I got some pictures that you gave to us to use for the show and video as well. So we're going to get to that. But a little bit about Boxing Talk. Boxing Talk was kind of like while YouTube was kind of starting up too. So you know when you was doing these interviews, you was doing the interviews before YouTube, because now everybody's doing content on YouTube and posting the videos. But you have, you know, from what me and you discussed, you have a lot of content like that you have like on tape, you know, and storage, because you was out doing it with the microphones. I mean, I played one of the interviews with Shushu, where Shushu was like 6 years old, right? So tell us a little bit, tell us a little bit about that, you know, about the history of your coverage.
Oh man, I've had the honor and the privilege to have interviewed some great fighters. And when I came into Boxing Talk had access to the fighters. I used to watch fights on HBO and on Showtime, and if you can remember or archive, fighters like Holyfield and Chris Bird and Antonio Tarver, these guys used to wear Boxing Talk into the ring. Now
Yeah,
this was pre-YouTube. There was no YouTube. There was no thought of YouTube. But these guys had a way to upload videos onto the internet. You know, it was a process to it. It's not as easy as it is today. You know, there was hours behind the uploading, then the downloading, then you had to put it on the server. Then they would get it from the server and do what they had to do to put it up. It was a process. It was a long process, but it was worth it because we had the capabilities of putting out video around the world in the World Wide Web, and the fighters knew this, and it was easy to get access because the fighters wanted to be on the World Wide Web. They wanted to be on the internet, and so we were a second channel for them besides the HBOs and the Showtime. We were a second channel for them to really get out there, and it was a great era in boxing. It was a great time, a lot of access with a lot of fighters, amazing top fighters from the era that we were doing, and it was great.
Let me just try to see if I could get this so that we could put your logo up a little bit, just so people can see it. Okay, and then we can see our face. But another question of mine that I have, we've had, I mean, we speak a lot and we see each other at some of these events that I get to go to. You go to more than I do, but you told me about some fighters you interviewed, some real well-known fighters. One in particular, Floyd Mayweather. I think you had a nice little story about Mayweather when you interviewed him and how he kind of, you know, reacted to one of your videos and reacted to you. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Floyd Mayweather was one of the first boxers that I was given access to in early in his career before he fought his first pay-per-view. We did a massive coverage on Boxing Talk with Floyd Mayweather during fight week, and I covered all the events. I had access to Floyd Mayweather at the HBO offices exclusively. Now you got to remember, at this time, there were no other videographers. Mostly it was print. We're talking about the Daily News, Sports Illustrated, the New York Times, the Post, and some websites. There were no video, so it was very exclusive, right? But we were able to do with the access that we were given. Floyd Mayweather was one of the first, but he was not the only. We had, you know, Winky Wright, Antonio Tarver, Roy Jones Jr., Evander Holyfield. I mean, the list and the access, Shane Mosley, Diego Corrales, was the list and the access of fighters was big, and it was big.
Hmm. Yeah. Oh, you broke up a little bit, Jose. Gotta check the phone, but you chopped up a little bit. Sorry about that.
No, no, it's all good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sorry about that, man. My audio is bad. I'm not at my computer.
Oh,
I
okay.
should have been, but I wasn't prepared. I'm on my phone, man.
No, it's all right. It's all right. We can hear you. It just broke up a little bit there, but that's pretty awesome. I mean, you know, like I said, like we were saying before, this is before the YouTube area. This is before, like, you was doing it with the microphone and, you know, any other machines that or cameras you have. Not like, you know, today is more, you know, technology has changed. It's a little bit more advanced. Like you said, it's a little bit more easier. But for you to get those interviews, you know, and your website is tell us about that. Boxing on YouTube, you got some of those old videos, those old clips that you have of the same fighters that you just mentioned.
Yeah, all the videos are up there. All the archives are up there. I mean, numerous fighters. I made a list over hundreds and hundreds of fighter and interviews, and fighters I've done multiple interviews with. Um, Man, it's been great. I've seen fighters grow from the amateurs to the professionals and become champions. Shushu, for example, I've seen Shushu go in front of my camera at 7, 8 years old, and now being able to watch him nearing a world title shot, that's great. Having fighters in the amateurs like Louis Collazo and watching him,
Mhm.
in his big fights, and Gary Stark and the guys that came up out of New York, it was just a great time and a great era, you know.
Yeah.
Man, it's just a privilege, Now I'm now doing it now, but it's nothing like it was then. Now everybody has access, everybody has a phone, everybody has internet, everybody has a YouTube channel. So it was very different, and so I cherish those moments that I had. I cherish those times, that I could produce video footage that no one else has video footage of, because there was
Yeah.
nobody else doing it.
Yeah.
So I look at that time and I say, man, I take that, and man, it's a privilege, and I cherish it, because man, the time that I was able to spend with some fighters um, was tremendous. And to think about it, I'm just a boxing fan,
Hmm.
right? And given the opportunity to sit across from these guys, like that was an amazing time in my life. For somebody to do that for me, I was living my dream.
Mm. Real quick, shout out to Camiran Fields. Thank you so much. Much appreciation for the donation. She says, appreciate the dedication and information content that you provide. Salute to Jose. Hopefully, I spelled that correctly. Yes, you did. For joining us tonight. I have subscribed. Peace and blessings. Thank you, Camiran Fields. Jose is a great guy. Like I said, I know him personally. I see him at the fights. He got me. We the Keith Cologne fight. He snuck me into the dressing room, and then we got to interview Keith back then. And I got some news about Keith in a minute. We'll bring that up too. But
I
salute to you,
appreciate
Camiran
you.
Fields. Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate you. Thank you for the support. Thank you for supporting boxing. Thank you for supporting this channel, because this channel is one of the channels that gave me an opportunity to come on and tell my story and gave me some airtime, and that's much appreciated. I much appreciate it. I never forget, where I come from, and those opportunities. But again, thank you for the donation. Thank you for the support, and look forward to bigger things on my channel too.
Thank you. So, one question before we go on to the event you just covered this past weekend. You also were a fighter yourself. You came up, you fought in the amateurs. Tell us a little bit about you as and your background as a fighter. I know you cover it. You fought as well, and you had a good relationship with a pro fighter as well.
Yeah, I fought the amateurs starting in 1996 as an adult. I fought earlier in my life, before teen, coming up to my teen years, in St. Mary's, PAL in the Bronx. But I never competed. I just did some like shows, smoker shows with your own teammates and your own gym mates. We did those kind of things. But I competed in 96, 97, 98, and 99 here in New York. I did Golden Glove, I did Metro tournaments, and I did smoker shows, one night, go get a fight, and that's that. So, and I did those things. And it was a great experience. I did it for reasons, personal reasons, and boxing did for me what I needed it to do. And it was great. It was a journey. It was one that, it's a story that's to me is crazy, because when I first joined the Golden Gloves, I didn't have a trainer. I didn't train hardly. I used to go to Gleason's gym, but I was going off for whatever knowledge I had when I was younger, and what I was doing by fighting in the street, because I was getting into a lot of street fights.
Mm.
So from that alone, I decided I can do it. And so in 96, I made this decision to join the Golden Gloves, and I did that. In 95, actually. In 95, I made the decision, and then in '96, the journey started for me in the Golden Gloves all the way to '99.
And you made it to the championship in one of those years, correct? To the
In
finals?
1998, yeah. So in 1997, with no trainer, I won my first fight and even dropped the guy in the second round. And then in my second fight, I lost. Now here's the thing: I didn't have a trainer, right? So they had me. They had some volunteers that worked for the PAL at the time to work my corner. And for my first two Golden Glove fights, Juan Laporte, who's a former featherweight world champion, worked my corner for my first two fights of Golden Gloves. So imagine that, coming into the Golden Gloves and having Juan Laporte work your corner in both fights. It's amazing. It's amazing. Now, I lost my second fight, right? But then I said, you know what? Let me try this again. And I got a trainer. And I went 97. 97, I fought the Metros and the Golden Gloves.
Okay.
I did well in the Metros. I lost the second fight in the Golden Gloves. Said, we're going to do it again. We trained. And we trained. And we went back in 98. Now, in 96, I was 156 pounds. I fought in the 156-pound division. In 97, I went down. I fought in the 147-pound division. And then in 98, I went down again. I went to 140. 139 was the division.
Okay.
And I turned southpaw. And that was my best year. I beat 4 people to get to the finals in 1998.
Okay, that's awesome. So go ahead.
So here's the thing now. So at this time now, I'm training both out of this gym called Rivero Boxing in St. Mark's in Brooklyn, and we're also training out of the PAL in Sunset Park. Now out of the PAL, you got Vladimir Dominguez. He was fighting at 147 pounds. He eventually lost to Luis Collado at 147 pounds. At 139 pounds, there was this guy in Sunset Park named Gabe Bracero. He was fighting out of Sunset Park. So we were all training, Vladimir, myself, David Ortiz, another guy who fought the gloves, and Gabe Bracero. And Gabe Bracero's dad was an assistant in my corner, along with a guy named Freddie and I forgot this other guy's name. Well, anyway, we eventually end up fighting each other, Gabe Bracero and me, from the same gym. And you know, we sparred with each other. Their father worked corners of my fights, and we ended up fighting each other in the finals. And he beat me, but it was an experience.
Yeah.
And I beat everything else that I was trying to beat. He beat me, but I beat everything else.
Yeah.
So, you know.
That's pretty awesome. I mean, you finished runner-up. That's that's a great achievement from where you started, with no trainer. Right? I think that's pretty awesome.
And it's also how you look at it. Like, thousands of people join the Golden Gloves. 32 make it to the finals. I mean, just to make it to the finals, like, it's an achievement.
Absolutely.
And to me, I had achieved what I wanted to achieve using boxing, and I did it on that night. On that night, I won my championship. My silver is my championship, and it did what it was supposed to do for me. And then I came back the following year, and I moved up again to 147, and I lost my first fight. And then that's when I decided, you know what? I did enough to my satisfaction. I did enough to satisfy me. And again, it did what it was supposed to do for me. So I'm good, you know?
That's awesome. And then here you are, you covering the sport. I mean, boxing, you gave to boxing, boxing gave to you. It's like, you have this relationship that's ongoing, So.
It's on and off. There was some time I took off, things happen, life happens. But, I'm here. It's always here, and I'm always here. So let's do this.
Okay. All right. So about 8:21, we'll go a little bit further, and I got to do a little break, and then we got to cut it at like around 8:45, just to let you know. So we're gonna try to get some stuff in, but I definitely want to cover. I would definitely want to cover what you covered this past week, the New York State Boxing Hall of Fame. You was at the event. You submitted some pictures. What I'm going to do is, first of all, talk to me about that experience, about you covering it, and then what I'll do is I'll put some of the pictures you get sent me, and you'll talk about each person that received that award.
First and foremost, Ring 8 was the association and the organization that put the New York Boxing Hall of Fame banquet together. And shout outs to Ring 8 and McNair. I think it's Ron McNair, the president of Ring 8, and his organization. They did a great job, again, putting it all together. It was well put together. It was well organized. Everything was where it's supposed to be, and everybody knew where they were supposed to be. So shout out to them. Again, it was a great event. It was at Russo's on the Bay in Queens. So the atmosphere was great. The view was great. The food was great. The people and everybody was there for a purpose to celebrate those that were inducted into the New York Boxing Hall of Fame. And there were a few people we know, like Andre Rozier and Pat Russo, guys like Chris Algieri and Cindy Serrano, Alicia Ashley, also referee Eddie Claudio. He was also inducted. Mitch Blood Green was inducted. A lady who called my Golden Glove finals, the daughter of Gil Clancy, Kathy Clancy Burke, she was inducted, and I was able to meet her for the second time, once before I fought the finals, and this time after. This is the first time I've spoken to her since the 1998 Golden Glove finals. And I told her, it was an honor to meet her because she called my fight at 139 pounds, Madison Square Garden, and it was just an honor to meet her. So she was also inducted, and it was a great event.
Okay. Well, you mentioned Andre Rozier. You have a good relationship with him. I always see you talking to him, and he's always got a lot to say. He's a very likable guy. Andre Rozier, that's the award here. They coached. Danny Jacobs is one of the known fighters that he worked with.
Me and Rozier, we go back a long time. After my Golden Gloves, somewhere real quick after that, I had a fight. I had a few fighters. I had a fighter called Aris Mendes. He was a good fighter. He was a junior Olympic champion. That's when I first met Andre Rozier. Was in Lake Placid, New York, when I had my fighter up there. And at that time, he had Curtis Stevens. He had Mean Joe Green. Yeah. He had another guy they called Crack. I don't remember his name. He had a few fighters up there at the time. And that's how I first met him many years ago, more than 30-something years ago.
Yeah, Andre Rozier is a real nice guy. He also has a clothing line that some of the fighters wear. What is it? Havoc Boxing?
Havoc Boxing.
Havoc Boxing, that you'll see that logo somewhere some of the fighters wear in their trunks or, their jackets or their robes. So, yeah, Andre Rozier has been around a long time. Still active today, still working with fighters today. In Brooklyn, I believe he's working in gyms in Brooklyn, right?
Yeah, he's working out of the Saddam Ali gym. He works out of the Cops and Kids gym.
Yeah.
Got a few fighters happening. He has Suicide helping Boots get ready for his fight. So he's busy on the roster. We should see him at the Prime Time Promotions fight on April 11th.
Okay. Yeah, that's in Queens, right?
At the Melrose, yep.
At the Melrose. I'll be there. Our guy, well, my guy, I don't know how good you know him, but Ofacio Falcone's on that card, so I'll be there. I'll be there I won't be there working. I'll be there as a fan. So I'll be there. And Ray Campbell's the matchmaker of that event too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Giovanni Gonzalez. Gio's gonna be on the card too. Marcos Paz is gonna be on the card.
Paz, that's right. Yeah.
Asini is gonna be on the card from Cops and Kids as well. He's gonna make a return. So it's going to be an exciting night.
Yeah, I think it'd be a real solid card of fights, which is good. I'm excited more for Paz. Paz is a good fighter, and I'm excited for Ofacio as well. So
I'm just excited for the whole. I'm just excited for the whole New York scene. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Alicia Ashley. She finally got inducted into the New York Hall of Fame. She has been inducted into the Golden Glove Hall of Fame, the All-Woman Boxing Hall of Fame, and the International Boxing Hall of Fame. So she was happy to finally get inducted into the Hall of Fame. Alicia Ashley had a great amateur career. She also went on to win multiple world titles. Alicia Ashley is a pioneer for the sport of boxing. It was great to see her again because, again, a lot of these fighters fought around the years that I fought. So Alicia Ashley competed around the same years, thereabouts. So it was great to see her, great to hear her story. I got to interview her and get some time with her. So shoot over to my channel. You see that if you're interested. But yeah, it was great to see her. Great to see her pioneering. It was just great to see like all the women, and now that women boxing is on a resurgence. Amanda Serrano was there. Cindy Serrano was there. Nisa Rodriguez was there. Ashley, Alicia Ashley was there. Sonia Lomanekis was there. There were a lot of women fighters and a lot of women just representing those women fighters and the family members and their loved ones. It was just great overall.
Yeah, there's Cindy Serrano's
Cindy
award
Serrano,
there.
Cindy
Jimmy
Serrano
O'Farrell.
she had a 15-year run from 2003 to 2018, and also captured a WBO featherweight title along that that route. Being champion at the same time with her sister. It was very emotional when Amanda Serrano went up there, as not the world champion Amanda Serrano, but as the little sister Serrano, introducing her older sister, a sister who inspired her to take a step into the ring. And just imagine if she had never inspired Amanda Serrano to get into the ring, or if Cindy Serrano had done another sport and Amanda followed her in those footsteps, we would never hear about such great fighters. And Cindy Serrano, who was inducted, and it was great that she was, and she got her accolades. And Amanda Serrano, who on July 11th, Madison Square Garden is going down.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We're going to get to that in a minute. Tell us a little bit. One more, I think we missed, and then we'll go to the break. Jimmy O'Farrell.
Jimmy O'Farrell was inducted posthumously, if that's the correct way to pronounce that. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce it correctly, but yeah, Jimmy O'Farrell. Jimmy O'Farrell touched a lot of lives before he moved on. And I'll say this: in 1998, I faced in 1996, I faced a Jimmy O'Farrell fighter who I beat in my first Golden Glove fight. And in 1998, I faced the Jimmy O'Farrell fighter who I beat in 1998. But I also knew him to have fighters like Dimitri Salita, Monty Barrett, and other fighters, and fighters who both became world champions and not world champions. And Jimmy O had Starrett City. He started with a lot of young fighters and did his thing. He was not only a trainer and a coach, he was like a father figure to many. And finally he was inducted, and that was a great honor. Dimitri Salita of Salita Promotions, who promotes Clarissa Shields, he accepted the award along with his sons. And it was great. He gave a speech of how O'Farrell impacted his life and the life of those around him that he knew of. And it was great. It was a great story. I know about Jimmy O'Farrell, but those that didn't got to hear it from those that were there and were close, his sons, Dimitri Salita. And it was great that he was inducted. There was a lot of people there, a lot of family. And a lot of us knew him. A lot of the people in the amateur scenes, a lot of the people that got inducted, Julio Salinas, Eddie Claudio, Billy Giles, all these guys knew him as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a little commercial break, and then when we come back, we'll cover more. We'll have a video clip of Amanda Serrano. We'll talk about her upcoming fight and the promotion for that, and then we'll talk about this weekend's big fight with Mikaela Mayer and Sandy Ryan. We'll talk a little bit about the undercard as well if we got some time. So stay with us. I got my man Jose Fire Aguirre. Tell us about that. We'll be back right after this. Once I find the clip. I don't know where. Oh, here we go.
Petwell Clinic was built with busy pet parents like you in mind, providing walk-in preventative vet care, treatment for minor ailments, and chronic condition management. You remain with your pet throughout their visit, and all charges are clearly explained, so there are no surprises at checkout. Just walk in to our Paramus, Greenbrook, or Union locations, or visit us at petwellclinic.com for more information.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
And we're back. And if you're looking for Rich Mancuso, I am not Rich Mancuso. So if you're just tuning in, I'm Tommy D. I'm here with my good friend, Jose Fire Aguirre from Tell Us About That. And we're covering for Rich Mancuso. And we were just talking about the New York Boxing Hall of Fame. And now we're going to move on, and we're going to talk about, since you was at the event this past weekend, Jose, you got to speak with Amanda Serrano. And Amanda Serrano's got a big fight, coming up in July. The press conference, I believe, is in a couple weeks. It's going to be at the Hulu Theater. The fight is going to be upstairs in the Garden against Katie Taylor. It's going to be the third fight. Tell us a little bit about, you talking to Amanda before we play this clip of her and Cindy, I believe that's Cindy's husband, and Amanda's trainer.
Correct. So first of all, when we were there, Amanda was there. I was actually sitting at the table at some point with them because it gave me a better view of the podium that I was recording. One thing I want to make clear, I didn't make it about Amanda because it was about Cindy. So when I did speak to Amanda, it was after everything was said and done, all the awards were handed out, and we were about to depart, and everybody was about to leave. So that was when I then went, and only then did I approach them, and only then did I ask them that one question was, talk to us about July 11th.
Okay.
And I didn't go any further. I didn't go with a second question. There was a lot of questions that could have been asked, right? About the signings that were happening, about the fight on July 11th, about the all-women's card, so much. But it wasn't her day. So I asked her one question. I asked her trainer one question, and that was that. I appreciate their time.
Okay, there we go.
Can I get a comment on July 11th, Madison Square Garden, New York City?
July 11th, it's going to be epic. You know what I'm saying? Third time's the charm. So we're taking that victory. This is home. You know what I'm saying? We've already had 20 rounds with her. You know, these 10, if it does go 10, are going to be epic. So whatever you do, make sure July 11th, you're in the house. If you can't make it personally, because we are going to sell it out, tune into Netflix. It's going to happen.
We appreciate your time. Good luck July 11th.
Thank you.
Yeah, you could have asked her why he didn't wear a suit to the event. I mean,
yeah, I'm not going to ask him that because I wasn't wearing a suit. You know what I'm saying? I went in sneakers and jeans and a shirt, Thankfully, I did, because not everybody had a suit. Not everybody had on shoes.
Okay, let's go to Amanda.
Care to comment on July 11th, Madison Square Garden, your trilogy against Katie Taylor?
Don't miss it. One thing for sure, third time the charm. I'm going to go. It's coming back where it all started at the Garden. I'm super excited and proud to headline the old women's card. And I just can't wait. And I'm guaranteeing you guys are going to have a great time. We're putting on a stack card with great females. So don't want to miss it.
Thank you for your time, and good luck on July 11th.
Yep, that was awesome. That's all we needed, right?
Nice and quick.
There's a time for that. So on April 9th, it's a Wednesday, they'll be having a press conference in New York City, as you mentioned, and we'll get all the details about what's going on, who's going to be on the card, what woman they sign, who's going to do what. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, she's great. And your opinions of the first two fights? I thought the first fight she won. I thought both fights she'd won. The first fight I thought was closer than the second. In my opinion, I think the corner should have stopped the fight, and they would have got the win. After the cut, I think she, fighting with that cut was a big disadvantage. But what's your opinion on those first two fights?
I thought both fights were close. I thought that Amanda could have won the first fight. I thought the second fight was a little bit different. You know, perspective, man. Perspective is everything. Like if people don't believe, just get 4 friends, buy 4 different tickets to the 4 different arenas, and score the fight objectively, and then come together and tell me what you guys come up with. Right? You might come up with different things. Both fights were close. You know, it depends on what you look at, what you score, you know, what you see. We have the advantage when we're home to see different angles that don't get blocked by referees, by a corner, by a ring post, by somebody standing up. Not that it happens with the judge, but these things when we look at fights matter, right? But I think because people say why, and at first I was saying why as well. We're 2-0, right? Trilogies are usually for 1-1.
Yeah.
I think there's some sentiment there as well, right, for the W, because Katie Taylor was the last one to also beat Cindy Serrano.
That's true. Yeah.
Right. So I think, you know, there's some sentiment there of, even if they don't tie it, even if and when Amanda wins this next one, they're gonna be satisfied with 2-1 because they got the win. Right?
Yeah.
They might not win the series, but they got the win, and emotionally for her and her sister, that's gonna be big.
Yeah. It's almost kind of like another one, like Pacquiao and Marquez, right? You know, Marquez didn't get the win until the last one, which is the 4th fight, and he stopped Pacquiao, and to them that was more than good enough, you know. So I'm rooting for Amanda. I think she's very charismatic. I like her. She's from, you know, she's Puerto Rican like me, and she's from my city like me. So, you know, I'm rooting for the home team in this one. You know, so I have a little bit bias. We shouldn't be biased when we're in media. You tell me that all the time. You know, you don't go. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm personally I'm rooting for her. But I think it's gonna be a good fight. I mean, Katie Taylor is no slouch. You know, she almost had her out of there twice. In the first fight, she had her, and in the first round of the second fight, she almost had her out of there. She ran out of time. So
okay, so what do we have to do in this fight now?
She's got to try to stop her. I think do the same thing and maybe get her out of there early in this fight. She almost
what
had
do we do? What do we do in this fight, though? What do we do in this fight now? What do? We go off the back foot. We work off that jab. She has to pop that jab and no stop that jab. She can't go into fight with her. She can't go into fight with her. She has to box her from the range and use her boxing from a range and her power from range.
Yeah.
When she's close, she smothers most of her power. The body shot's getting good, but the long shots that matter, that's gonna get her the knockout, she smothers herself. If she boxes and jabs, she can get it. So let's see. Let's just hope, because other than that, there's gonna be again clash of heads. And how do you avoid that? You got to use your feet. You got to create that distance. So let's see what kind of game plan they have this time. But I think Amanda, you know, she has to have learned enough in those 2 to pull this one off. So I'm rooting for Amanda.
Okay, great. That'll lead me to we don't have much time. We got about 5 minutes. And then we have to go another break, and I got to bring my next guest on. But let's go to what the title of the show was. We'll talk about the big fight this weekend: Mikaela Mayer versus Sandy Ryan. Where you was at the first fight too. It was back in September. I was there as well. I thought that was the best fight of the night, and surprisingly, I criticized that fight as being the main event. I thought Xander should have been the main event, you know. But listen, they proved me wrong. They put on a hell of a fight. The first fight, not that it was controversy, but there was controversy before the fight. They threw paint on Sandy Ryan. I think that kind of messed with her going in. I guess, you know, that ate her up a little bit. She kind of went off what she says her game plan, which led to her ultimately losing a very close fight. I thought it was a close fight, 6-4. It could have been either way. Mikaela Mayer won the fight. What do you think happens in this fight? Who do you think wins and why?
Well, first of all, let me go back to the first fight. In the first fight, while at the arena, I thought that Sandy Ryan won the fight. I can't argue with Mikaela getting the fight because it was that kind of fight. It just took one round and to make a difference, right? This is gonna be a good fight. The first one was a good fight. This is gonna top that one, I think. I think these 2 women genuinely don't like each other. And I think the situation with the trainer, which is, to my surprise, still a narrative in this whole run up to this next fight. I think that really created this tension between these two women, and I think they genuinely don't like each other. And I think what we're gonna see on Saturday night is fireworks.
I agree. I agree with you. They don't like each other. That always makes for a great fight. I think there is still an animosity over the trainer as well. So, and then Sandy's got she lost her title. She wants revenge. She feels like she was done wrong, because of what happened before the fight where they threw paint on her. So I think that's going to bring a little bit more out of her in this fight. I think we're going to get a great fight, and it's the main event again, and this time, rightfully so, it deserves to be the main event. I'm not going to say anything. We got Brian Norman Jr. on the card, who's a hell of a fighter. We got our guy Shushu, who you've been covering since 6-7 years old. Look, there it is, Shushu and Chill.
Ironically.
So, I mean, it's going to be a really good card. Top Rank has been putting on good cards, in my opinion. We were at February. We was there February 14th, and that was a hell of a card with Keyshawn Davis. So I'm looking forward to it. So,
Man, I can't wait. I'm excited. Our guy representing New York is on the card, Bruce. So whenever we see him, we there. And Brian Norman, we're gonna get to see him now. There's been a lot of noise in the division, so I'm sure he's looking to make an impression. And then we got the main event, man. No painting of anything happening. I saw some video of Sandy Ryan moving around, and she had the people around her, so they were really aware of what her surroundings were.
yes, indeed. Well, Jose, I'm gonna, cut. This is great. We're gonna do this again. We're gonna bring you on with me and Sock and my man D Free. We're gonna do this again because you have a lot to bring to the table. You have a great story. You do a lot of coverage. You do a lot of great work. I honestly, openly admit that I look up to you because I've asked you a lot of questions. You kind of showed me the ropes too, and you're very aggressive when you go and you get your content too. I'm a little bit laid back, and you kind of push me. So I appreciate you, and I thank you for that. I thank you for your help. I thank you for coming on and being a guest with us here as we cover for Rich Mancuso as well. So
appreciate you, man. I appreciate your support. Ever since I met you, you've been supportive. I support everybody. They shine for everybody, so you're always gonna get love from me. Thank you again for having me on. Thank Rich Mancuso. I hope his Yankees won. But
the Yankees did win.
Appreciate you having me on again, man. Let's do it again. Let's keep doing it. Man.
Absolutely, man. And tell us about that on YouTube. Tell us about that boxing. Look him up, my man Jose Fire Aguirre. He has great content, great videos, great interviews from back in early 2000s. So
check the archives. Check the archives.
And current everything, man. So follow him, please. Follow and subscribe to my man Jose. Take care, Jose. We'll see you guys. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we're gonna bring in Robbie Rebel. Take care, everybody.
Robbie Rebel. Let's go.
All right. Let me just get this commercial again. If it decides to play.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
We're back. If you're just joining us, I am Tommy D, a.k.a. Thomas from the Bronx, covering for Rich Mancuso. I may look a little bit like Rich Mancuso, but I am not Rich Mancuso. And we're here and almost the end of the show, but it's one of my favorite parts of the show, and I get to bring up one of my favorite people on this show that's here every single week. Let me bring up my man, Robbie Rebel. What's going on, Rob? What's going on, bro?
How you doing, Tom?
Chilling, man. Having a good one. How's everything been with you?
Not too bad. I can't complain. We were part of one of the first wrestling shows at Mulcahy's in Wantagh recently.
Oh, that's what's up. That's great.
Yeah.
And so you had a show this past weekend as well? 'Cause I know you had one a couple weeks ago. Where
I did have one couple weeks ago. There's actually an article written by Evan Ginsberg, the producer from The Wrestler.
Okay. Nice. Okay.
Yeah, so he put us over good on that. We just had one over the weekend, and NYWC is running another one this weekend as well.
Okay. Cool. So before you get into the rant, I haven't really spoken about wrestling. We're talking boxing most of the show. Not much big news in wrestling is the road to WrestleMania. I don't really watch AEW as much as it doesn't interest me. More WWE guy because the storyline's a little bit better. Anything you want to speak about briefly about WWE or anything before you go into your rant?
No, I actually think that they're playing everything the way they should, especially with John Cena. I do have a bit of a problem with AEW, what they did with Moxley. I'm not a huge hardcore wrestling fan to begin with, but getting suplexed onto a bunch of spikes is very irresponsible and dangerous, and I'm pretty sure his wife didn't like that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, that was a little sick. And I'm a guy that likes ECW, and I don't even think ECW went that extreme. I mean, they did some crazy stuff, but that spike bat, that was a little intense.
You know what? When you're on TV and it's not an underground feel, ECW brought an underground feel, which is perfectly fine. But they also had variety. When it comes to AEW, it's not much variety anymore. It's just either you got your high spots or you got your people killing each other, and it's the same thing over and over again. I don't want to see someone who's 50 plus years old doing things like that. It doesn't mean anything anymore. And since we all know it's entertainment, make it more entertaining. Don't kill your body for no damn reason.
Yeah, I agree. So, Robbie, the floor will be yours. I'm going to take myself off the screen, and you're going to go ahead and you're going to do your thing. And you go on as long as you want. I guess the floor is yours. You go on as long as you want, and you give us your rant.
All right. Well, thank you there, Tom, and thank you, Keep It in the Ring. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. My name is Robbie Rebel. This is the Rebel Rant, where we ponder and pontificate the problematic perplexities plaguing the professional wrestling business today. Sorry, I have a little bit of Ozzy Osbourne hair going on, but I'm going to keep rolling with that. You could find me on Instagram, Facebook. Just look up for Robbie Rebel. Look for the man in the top hat. Don't have my top hat on right now. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. It's custom made, actually. But you can find me on Facebook, Instagram. We'll be happy to add to you. And today I'm going to rant about something that's actually pretty prominent within the whole wrestling business. And it's people who are in their mid 30s to early 40s to even late 50s causing drama like they're still in their 20s. Oh, yeah, I could go on forever about this. The first thing I'm going to talk about is a bunch of Facebook comments. There's people that are like, I've been doing this forever. I was in ECW. I was in that. Well, guess what? Times have changed. And unfortunately, when times change, you have to consistently go with it. Yes, I love professional wrestling. I love the performance and where it comes from. I've done my homework. I watch the old stuff. I have a hard time doing with the new stuff, but unfortunately, you do have to adapt. So if you're not adapting, no one's going to listen to what you want to do. And if you're consistently on Facebook starting things because some smark from Florida or North Carolina is calling you a drunk or something like that, get over it. If you're as big as what you were saying that you were, then he doesn't mean anything in the long run. Stop giving all these people a place to talk and just ignore it. There's no problem with it. Next, I'm going to talk about something that happened personally. Personally, I am sick and tired of people backstabbing and lying. One of my good friends posted something and lied about it completely about a booking that he had. And then he ends up saying, I never wanted to take this booking just because he wanted to jump on a bandwagon with everyone else. Man, if you're going to take a booking, take the booking. Or if you're not going to take a booking, man up, do what you got to do. If you need to take care of business at home, that's perfectly fine. We're all adults here. Like I was saying, at least almost 40 years old. But for heaven's sake, man, like if you just can't own up to the stuff you said or the stuff that you were begging and pleading for, get the hell out of this business. No one needs these drama queens. Everyone went through drama school in high school. I don't want to deal with this crap. I want to get paid. I want to put on a good show. I don't want to take people away from their bad lives for a minute. I want to make sure that they're doing okay and that they enjoy what I do. You see Robbie Rebel going in that ring, I don't put my dirty laundry out on Facebook. I'm not going to start drama between everybody. If it's personal drama, I'm going to take it out and be professional about it. Why the hell would you just consistently lie, cheat, and backstab other people for no reason, especially if it's for $50 at most? A hot dog and a handshake ain't worth this type of headache or this drama. So if you don't suck it up and you don't get out of the business because you can't take the heat, then just leave. Because no one wants to hear it. No one wants to do it. If you're making the drama about the backstage stuff more interesting than the wrestling, then we all have a problem. Yes, we all love Dark Side of the Ring. We love listening to the road stories and all that stuff that happened. But the real drama that happened when it did happen, let's face facts. You look back at it a couple years now, everyone hates Hulk Hogan, but he was huge in the 80s. This stuff will come back to bite you in the ass. When you politic and you backstab, it's just going to do nothing. And that's the things that I got to say about that. Back to you, Tom.
Well, that was pretty good. I actually agree with pretty much everything you just said. It's a tough business. There's no need to, and the thing about the bookings, you guys are not getting paid what you probably should be getting paid. And it's a rough business. It's a rough, sport. Some people may not consider it a sport because, they say it's not real, but it is real. It's maybe, determined, but you guys are taking legit what we call bumps, so I definitely agree with your rant.
Someone messes you up and then kicks you in the mouth and you lose your teeth about it. It's pretty real to me. That hurt.
Jesus Christ. Wow. Did you get
hurt.
Did you get to give him a receipt?
Oh, I gave him the receipt. I gave him the receipt of his life. He probably can't hear out of his right ear anymore, and I've never seen the guy ever since.
Ah, that's what's up. Yeah, see, Undertaker was known to giving people receipts. That's why I think that's why I first learned the term receipt.
Well, if you're going to hit someone who's a veteran or someone who's 3 times larger than you and you really want to throw something at them, guess what? It's coming back tenfold. I just had a match against Papadon, the Greek god Papadon. He's very well known up in the Northeast. And let me tell you one thing. I wouldn't dare have hit him too hard. I'll tell you that. Guy caught me right in the mouth. I gave him back a little bit, and I said, "Hey, man, you hit me a little hard." He goes, "My bad." But if I did that at first, I would have been knocked out in the middle of the bar.
Wow.
Because it was inside of a bar.
Jeez.
Well, let me rephrase it. It was inside a huge venue, but there was bars right next to the wrestling ring. It was the most weird thing, but I got to tell you, the crowd was hot that night. It was fantastic, and there was no damn drama.
Was that in New York?
Yeah, it was right in Wantoa. It was 5 minutes away from where I live.
Okay. Wow. I would like to go to one of those events. I haven't been to a wrestling. Well, I went to Raw last year, but I haven't been to like one of those, like an ECW event, like at the Elks Lodge. Like you just did a match in the Elks Lodge, right? Was it recently?
Yes, that was for CCW.
CCW. Okay, yeah, because I've been to the Elks Lodge a few times back in the way back in the day, ECW days, and those were fun. Those were great. They were great events. The crowd got involved. That was the thing. Like they not the crowd got involved, but the wrestlers and the announcers, they got the crowd involved, and they felt like they were part of the show.
The way I like to say it is that it's intimate, especially for indie shows.
Yeah.
But the problem is it's always a crapshoot within the indie shows because there might be a night where Robbie Rebel's not doing so good, or he gets booked the wrong way, or you get this guy booked the wrong way, or this guy just has never had a day of training in his life, but yet for some reason, because he's friends with somebody, they think he's going to draw money. I mean, I hate to say it, but because, like you said, it's a business. Mm-hmm. If you don't bring money to the table, if you don't bring asses to the seats, if you don't bring sponsorships, what are you really worth?
Yeah.
The wrestling part is just 101. Learning how to lock up, learning how to take bumps, that's 101.
Yeah.
If you want to go and be a baseball player, just because you could swing a bat doesn't mean you're getting into the MLB. You're not going to get on the Mets.
No.
You're not going to get on the Yankees. You got to be exceptional.
Yeah, absolutely.
And unfortunately, some people don't see exceptional when it's right in front of them.
Robbie, man, you're great. It's always a pleasure talking to you. I don't get to talk to you as much because it's his Rich's show, but one day I'm going to have you on my show. I'm going to bring in another friend of mine who used to wrestle. He trained out of Gleason's gym, so I think you guys.
Gleason's is a great place.
Yeah, he trained under Johnny Rods.
Johnny Rods.
Yep. So he's been retired, but he got some tryouts for like SmackDown, like back in the day. He did some dark matches. That's as far as he got. I think if ECW would have went a little bit longer, he might have been on the ECW roster because he was there working with some people like the Baldies. He was working with a couple of those guys. I don't know if you remember the Baldies from ECW.
I do. I actually look into the older stuff and like I actually review my history. I mean, I know he gets a lot of crap, but I listen to a lot of Jim Cornette stories.
I love Jim Cornette.
Love him or hate him, whatever he stands on, the man knows his history.
Yes.
So you got to be able to listen to that stuff. And then like there's times where I got to ride with Jimmy Hart. I've ridden with Vince Russo for a big event one time. Like just you hear a lot about people and you get this perception about them. Don't get me wrong, he's still saying bro every 3 seconds. And I mean, I'm pretty bad with saying dude, but it is true. And he's definitely full of himself, but it was to be able to pick brains like that, I picked the brains of, Jake Roberts, Balls Mahoney, God rest his soul. I had a match with at Jason Knight's thing. We were doing a huge Balls Mahoney thing. And his son does not want anything to do with wrestling.
Wow.
But because he remembered me, he hit me in the head with a chair.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Balls Mahoney. I got to meet Balls Mahoney back in the day too. He's a nice guy. I mean, it stinks. I knew New Jack as well. So when I think of Balls Mahoney, I think of New Jack only because they were good friends in the beginning. And they had a big falling out towards the end. So New Jack went kind of little bonkers, actually, but
yeah, he had a habit of doing that.
Yeah, but New Jack was really cool in person. Jerome was a nice guy. Like he would speak to you and just talk to you like a regular dude. Like Jerome Young, I believe is his real name. So he was really cool to hang out with. But this is many years ago. But Robbie, there goes the alarm here. They're ringing my bell. I hate this, but I'm always laughing. But I appreciate you, and we'll see you next week. And I'll try to contact you to see if I could get you and my friend on my show.
All right, sounds good. And I'll see everyone else next week on the Rebel Rant. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Robbie. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back, and then we'll close out.
Keep it in the ring, y'all.
Keep it in the ring. And find this, and there goes the doorbell. Jesus Christ.
Petwell Clinic was built with busy pet parents like you in mind, providing walk-in preventative vet care, treatment for minor ailments, and chronic condition management. You remain with your pet throughout their visit, and all charges are clearly explained, so there are no surprises at checkout. Just walk in to our Paramus, Greenbrook, or Union locations, or visit us at petwellclinic.com for more information.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
All right, everybody, we're back. Thank you. And then my doorbell is still ringing. Crazy. This is insane. But to close out, I got one more thing to say. I appreciate you guys coming in and checking us out here, keeping in the ring. Rich Mancuso will be back next week. He's doing well. The last couple times I was on, he wasn't really feeling well, but he actually is feeling well. But it's baseball season, so there'll be days when the Yankees or the Mets are playing, and he's covering the Yankees and Mets, in the nice surroundings of the press box there at the stadiums. But I also mentioned one thing in wrestling. There was some big news in wrestling. I think it was made this morning, earlier today, and it kind of goes along with boxing as well. SmackDown has hired a new ring announcer, none other than Mark Chinook. Mark Chinook. I don't know if I said his name right. I met Mark Chinook a couple of times. Nice guy, real cool guy. He works with Top Rank. He's the ring announcer. Top Rank, as you guys know. I got a little clip here. If you don't know who this is, I'm sure if you've seen him. Very nice hiring for SmackDown. I think this is a good look. Now they have a couple guys from ESPN working the show now. I think Tessitore is now there as well. Here goes Mark Chinook.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is boxing. This is Top Rank. Again, as as always, this is boxing, this is Top Rank. We'll see you tomorrow. Merci à tous. Bonne journée.
Mark Chinook, the newest addition to the SmackDown roster as the ring announcer. I think he'll do a great job. I think he does a great job with Top Rank. So that's all I got. I want to give a special thanks to Robbie Rebel. Did a great job today, helping me out as well. Because when I take over, I need all the help I can get. And my man Jose Fire Aguirre, tell us about that boxing. Please go and subscribe to the channel. He does great work. I kind of, he's kind of showed me the ropes as far as, going to these press events, the press conferences and weigh-ins. And, if you didn't get a chance to listen to him and you're just coming on now, rewind it, go back and listen to his story and about all the events he's covered. You know what I'm saying? So go check out Jose. On that note, I want to wish everybody well. Hope you guys have a great, fantastic week. Some good fights coming up this Saturday. Golden Boy and Top Rank has cards, so be on the lookout for that. Next week, Rich Mancuso will be back. Not sure if I'll be back because I actually got invited to go to the Yankees game next Thursday as well, and it's a 7 o'clock start, so I don't think I will be around. But you'll catch me live tomorrow night on my show. So with that being said, let me bid you all farewell. And as my man Rich Mancuso always says, keep it in the ring. Take care, everybody.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.